Hello. So it's about sundown and I wanted to show a couple plants that are really warming because it's so cold right now in the Bay Area. One of them grows in wild spaces and also is a really easily cultivatable green watercress. It's super high in vitamins and minerals, and I wanted to show it to you because it's prolific in our garden. It has taken over our little pond. Started as just a couple seeds that I planted last year and has completely gone everywhere. So watercress is really high in vitamin A and vitamin C. Vitamin A being really beneficial for sperm production, for eyesight, vitamin C for immunity. It's really strong antioxidant. It's really bright, and as you can see, it is prolific. Watercress in the body is really spicy. It is an expectorant and a diuretic, and so it helps flush excess waters out of the body. As an expectorant, it helps clear excess mucus from your lungs. If you notice that you are constantly mucousy, or if you're mucousy at the start of a cold, or if you have a lot of drip, like postnasal drip or like a runny nose, watercress is really helpful. It's super spicy. The vitamin C, as I mentioned last night with the miner's lettuce, is destroyed with heat, and it's the same here. But it makes an excellent pesto, and it makes an excellent sauteed herb to add to eggs, to salads. Plants that are really spicy, heat, of course, they heat the body. When I think of plants and energetics and what I'm wanting to eat, I think of the heating principle, and also what is its wateriness. Is a plant hot? Is it cold? Is it heating? Is it cooling? Is it drying? Is it warming? And when I think about how my body is and how I'm wanting to be, I'm trying to pair foods according to how I'm wanting my body's states to progress. Like if I'm feeling really cold and dry, I'm gonna want foods that are warming and moistening to make me feel really good. I say that a cold body is a dead body, and especially on days like today, it's really clear that's super true. So I'm looking for foods that are warming, ginger of course, but watercress. These are plants that will help me feel really alive and nourished in my body. So I showed you the huge watercress that's growing in my garden, and this one is, or in the pond, this one is a relative. This one's known as bittercress. And it's identifiable by the leaf structure. You can see that the leaves they're across from each other, but they're a little bit up. They're not exactly opposites. And then we have these little white flowers that will soon open. I don't think any of these ones are open. But they all grow from this rosette, where they grow from a single base, and then many different leaves come out from there. They have these really sweet little shapes. They look like miniature arugula, and they're related to arugula. They're in the brassica family, like mustards and other heating plants. It's called Nastertium officinale, but it's not related to nasturtium, except pretty distantly. But one of my favorite garden plants is nasturtium, and nasturtium's pretty common throughout the Bay Area. It's a really widely cultivated plant, and in a lot of it spreads really easily and takes really well. And nasturtium, just like watercress and other spicy plants, help the body become heated when we can't make it through a transformation, when we spiritually, emotionally, physically don't have the heat within us to go through the alchemical fire and transform ourselves in the way that we're wanting to transform, or in the way that life needs us to transform. We can sometimes work with heating plants to help us build that internal fire and move into our next stage of being. Physiologically, these heating plants like nasturtium and watercress, they boost metabolism. They get that fire moving. Other plants that help do that, we have cayenne, ginger, mustards, arugula. They build that fire. So we can work with our plant allies to regulate our internal temperature state to help us achieve what we want. With nasturtium, the different parts, all the parts are edible. We have the leaf. It is anywhere from little babies, teeny leaves, to huge leaves. The flowers are edible. The fruit, the capers of the nasturtium plant are edible. They'll come after this. They're most edible when they're fresh. The seeds get really fibrous and the pods get pretty gross. But you can do a quick pickle with those, or you blanch them and drop them in a pickling liquid like apple cider vinegar and some sweetener if you want, or some kind of a tea with apple cider vinegar. I like to use these as wraps for making sweet little rolls. When I make goat cheese, I'll make little balls of goat cheese and I'll freeze just the leaf here. You can pluck it off at the base. And I'll freeze this and the cell walls will break and it will become very, very pliable. And I'll wrap it around the cheese and create, it's kind of like a dolma at that point. You can make dolmas with these. They're great for collard wraps, but just a really great way to get additional spice in my food. They're edible, just like a watercress. They're great raw, cooked, juiced in smoothies. Yeah, bon appetit. Enjoy your heating treats.